Good morning, guys. This is going to be an informative, educational, and hopefully an enjoyable, entertaining video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and hit the little bell so you're notified when I put new videos out. And if you don't mind, watch the video all the way through and go back and watch some of my older videos. It's the best way you can support the channel. And trust me, we're needing some support right now. Anyways, this is about the grand jury that Dawn and Candace may or may not be facing. Not that they face it, but their case may be took in front of, and it just helps explain the process a little better. Okay, we're going to start out with, I'll ask the questions and then we'll look at the answers. Are all juries the same?
But while most juries look like this, a grand jury does not even involve a trial.
Then what is a grand jury for?
Grand jury is used to decide if there's enough evidence to support a criminal charge, and specifically what charges.
What type of case is the grand jury used for?
Grand juries essentially do triage or intake on a case, and usually only look into serious felonies like murder, rape, or kidnapping.
What is the major difference between a trial jury and a grand jury?
In a trial, charges have already been presented, and it's the jury's job, with the judge mediating, to decide whether the defendant is guilty or innocent. While a trial jury usually has 6 to 12 people, a grand jury can have as many as 16 to 23 people.
Does anyone have to appear before a grand jury?
The prosecutor presents the case and evidence. The grand jury may request that the court submit further evidence, including witness testimony and subpoenas of documents.
How does the public know what happens during the grand jury?
Unlike a trial, grand juries operate almost entirely in secret. The press is not allowed into the room, and neither is the public.
Why is no one allowed to know what is said?
This allows the defendant and witnesses to speak freely without injuring their reputation if the jury decides not to indict.
Does the grand jury have to all agree to hand down an indictment?
Unlike trial juries, grand juries do not need a unanimous decision to indict. They just need a supermajority, like 2/3 or 3/4, depending on the jurisdiction.
Let's see what a defense attorney has to say to a potential defendant. This is Stephen Gutierrez, a real defense attorney. Check out his channel. Link is in the description box below. How does a grand jury work?
A grand jury is a group of regular citizens impaneled to hear evidence in criminal cases to determine whether or not the case should be indicted and continue through the court system. A grand jury will either no-bill a case or true-bill the case. A no-bill means that the grand jury determined there was not probable cause and the case should not be prosecuted further. On the other hand, a true bill means that probable cause does exist and the case should be indicted and proceed to trial. Importantly, a grand jury no bill does not necessarily end a prosecution, since the no bill is not a double jeopardy bar to a new and different grand jury listening to the same evidence and deciding to indict the case. In fact, a prosecutor could present their case to any number of grand juries until they got the indictment that they were seeking.
Should I, as a defendant, go before the grand jury and testify?
Well, the only potential advantage to testifying is the hope of derailing the prosecution by convincing the grand jury to no-bill the case. Unfortunately, this advantage is fleeting, since the prosecutor need only present their case to a new grand jury to obtain the indictment that they're seeking, forcing the accused person through the process all over again.
Is there a reason a defendant should not go before the grand jury?
The disadvantages of testifying before a grand jury in your own defense are threefold. Number one, everything that you say during the grand jury testimony process could possibly be used against you in court. Number two, not only would you be subject to cross-examination from the prosecutor during your testimony, but you would also be subject to questioning by every member of the grand jury itself. And number three, If the grand jury decided to indict you despite your best efforts, the prosecutor now has a recording of exactly how you plan on defending yourself in court. That puts you at an extreme disadvantage, both tactically and strategically.
What if I want to talk to the grand jury myself?
I think it's a rare case indeed where the accused person would want to waive their rights to silence and testify before a grand jury in their own defense, knowing that a grand jury no bill is not a double jeopardy bar.
What is double jeopardy bar? The Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution states that no person shall be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb. The double jeopardy clause bars second prosecutions after either an acquittal or a conviction and prohibits multiple punishments for the same offense.
Consequently, if you are considering testifying before a grand jury in your own defense, please consult with a qualified criminal defense attorney before deciding whether or not to testify.
Well, that's it, guys. I hope you learned something. I hope it was informative, educational, entertaining, and if you all have any other questions or want me to do a video on some other part of what Don and Candace may or may not be facing, let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to pray for all the little missing kids. And we'll see you on the next video.